Welcome, everyone, to the final ACC event of this year. It has been an exciting year. There have been a lot of sessions. There have been a lot of learnings. Every session had a takeaway that we could apply and grow in our career. Doesn't matter at what stage of career we are in, whether we are a student, whether we are in our early stages of our career, whether we are in a place where we are looking to switch our jobs, the process remains the same. There are a lot of elements which, when learned how to apply, can be applied in various forms of our life. So today, before we get into the topic, we're going to recap. We're going to go through all the sessions of ACC and touch upon the main takeaways of each session. It will be a refresher for the year and also something that we can take along as we go on to the next year.
And end of year, every end of year, for those that are working, there's one thing that happens. You go into a review with your boss, and your boss tells you how good or bad you've done. That's your end of year performance review. So today, like Krutat Bhai said, we're going to have an end of year review of everything we've learned throughout the year. But then at the end, we also want you to take something away for when you have your end of year conversation with your boss. And we'll teach you some techniques on what kind of questions to talk about and what kind of feedback you want to ask for as well at the end. Good?
Yes.
Who remembers what the first one of this year was in January? It was an art of
Some art.
Some art.
It was some art.
There's many arts that we've done.
True.
So there was an art of communication that we did. We learned about the Mehrabian formula. Usually when we speak to others, we are very worried about the content that's within there. Correct?
That's right.
Now, what Mehrabian says is that people are looking at everything else but the content. Content is very important, but as you see in the top right, 7% of your message is actually how people perceive you and see you. Another 38% is your tone of voice. We practice this. The best way to practice this is in a mirror. Looking at yourself, looking at Obama speak, copying what he says, you will see the tones and inflections that he has in his voice. Sometimes he'll get silent to give a really nice message. Sometimes he'll get really loud to put a point in your head. There are different tones and inflections that are used, and that's how people perceive us. So many times when you're on a Zoom call, it's the worst medium to try to get across your message. In person is the best. But at that time, depending on what story you want to tell, you want to get loud, you want to get silent, you want to go slow, you want to go fast. Each one says a different message. And then the last one is your body language, especially in an interview or on a Zoom call.
Yeah. You make or break sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to when you're in an interview, you want to keep your eyes on the person. You want to move your hands around. I'm moving my hands around. Believe it or not, everyone go like this. You could hit the person next to you. It's okay. This feels weird. But when you're up on the stage ever, or you're talking to someone, this, to me, as the viewer, looks very normal. Moving your hands, your eyes, your smile, all that matters in the message you're trying to deliver. Second thing we learned in Art of Communication was Eli Ba. Does everyone remember Eli Ba? Explain like I am your Ba. If there's any concept, no matter how hard you're doing, whether it's in computer programming, whether you're doing research, you should be able to explain it to someone next to you as if they are your ba or your grandma. Is it possible? Is it possible to take your data science? Can you explain to me your data science and the work you do as if I am a ba?
Yes.
You want to try it?
Okay. Okay, I'll explain machine learning. So, ba,
Ha beta.
let's say I'll explain a problem that I'm working in my company. Let's say you go to buy a sari. Not, I was going to say jeans, but ba doesn't wear jeans.
Yeah.
So let's say you go to buy a sari, and you go to a store, and I'm a salesman. Okay? Now, you tell me that show me a sari in cream color. So I show you a sari in cream color. Then you ask me various types of sari, like bandhani or Punjabi or Kashmiri, whatever it is, in cream color. And then you say that I'll come back later. Okay? Now you come back after 20 minutes, and I'm the salesman. So I see you, and I say, welcome back, ba. Here's your cream color sari. Now, how did I know that you are going to ask for cream color sari? So you had interactions with me. You asked for specific color. You asked for various types of sari in specific color. And then when you came back again, what I did was recommend you based on your historical interactions. So what I'm working on is a recommender system that takes previous interactions and tries to recommend that gives me the highest chance of you buying that. And that's, when I do that at scale, when it scales up to, you're just one ba. But let's say I want to do it for 1 million bars together at the same time. That's the engineering part. So that's what I do as a machine learning engineer.
પછી બા એવું કે બેટા મને ઇંગ્લિશ નહીં આવડતું. No, I'm just kidding. You know your audience when you're speaking this as well. He did not use any jargons. He did not use jargon, and he did not use any acronyms. He did not put any difficult or complex description behind what he does. It is easy for him to do a version. Do you want to do a 1-minute version? Putting all jargons and complex description. Go explain machine learning to me.
So I take historical data, use PyTorch and scikit-learn, and store all my data in data warehouse in Snowflake, use that, compute, use GPUs to build complex models using these frameworks, and try to use maximum posteriority for recommender systems that gives you the highest chance of conversion.
Okay, so someone who doesn't live and breathe data science, I did not get a word of that. But what he said before, I did. When you're talking to the average person, they will not be as smart as you. They will not know the acronyms as well as you. Simplify it for everyone you speak to.
There's one point that I'd like to add. In communication, if you try to show how smart I am, that's a big red flag. But if you make other person feel smart through our communication, that's when we know that we are winning.
Vada pav method was one we learned. You want to put your intro on the top, your body, and then a conclusion which is very similar to the intro you put. Climate change is becoming a disaster for us in the world today. That's my intro. The world's temperature is rising, and it's creating hurricanes and a lot of natural calamities across the world. Conclusion, really quickly. If we don't all act now and today, the world will become a much worse place to live in. Hence, we all need to start contributing to climate change philosophy. Very simple. There's a little bit of a body, which I said there's a problem. Intro. Then there's a body that talks about what part of that intro am I supporting with evidence. 20% temperature has gone up over 20 years. 50,000 deaths have occurred. 20% more natural calamities. I put that in my body. And then at the end, when you're communicating, the main point that you wanted them to take away from the very beginning, go restate that again. That you need to change. After I prove myself that you need to change, I'm going to tell you again that you need to change and contribute to this. Like this, it could be done for your research, your job, anything that you do outside. Cool.
The elevator pitch.
So now this is February's Art of Communication part 2, the key items that we learned.
First question, any interview, any major, any job. First question is, tell me about yourself. With a recruiter, it's different. With a hiring manager, it's different. But a template like this can create an impression with the hiring manager in such a way that the rest of the interview goes smoothly. So to briefly explain this, just introduction and context setting. First, the elevator pitch shouldn't be more than 2 minutes. Sometimes when I ask someone, when I'm taking interview, tell me about yourself, they recite the whole resume, one by one. And that person has already lost it because I'm bored and I don't want to ask any further. But what is something that I can say that evokes curiosity in the mind of the hiring manager? That's the first 15 to 30 seconds. Another 30 to 45 seconds is highlighting skills and qualifications. Now, 25, 27, 30 years of our life. But what are the 2 top skills or qualifications that pertains to the job that we can highlight? And that stands out from the other 10,000 applicants. Demonstrating virtues. It can be something intangible, like work ethics, staying late, collaboration, leadership qualities. Because you're not just someone who mugs up answers, scores GPA, and does what you're told, right? There is a personality which can be demonstrated here. And call to action. This comes with researching the company as to what is something unique in the company that we can contribute to. And talk about that how will I use my skills, my virtues, to contribute, to be an asset to the company. So I know it's a lot, but it requires a lot of practice. And the shorter that we want to speak, the more practice we need. But this practice is worth it because you just have to perfect it once. And it can be applied in all the interviews.
And if I want to just 2 items here. One is your tell me about yourself is so important that every sentence you put must convey a message. It should not be an empty message that doesn't tell your viewer or your listener anything. Everything from, I am a huge believer in DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. That tells the viewer that they're very inclusive of others. Anything from, I have 15 years of experience in the telecom space and have launched multiple products that blah, 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 blah. That's a meaningful sentence where the listener can walk away with, A, he has a lot of experience. B, they've launched a lot of products, so they must have worked with many people. Or you talk about, I have led a group in college of more than 20 people to create a robotic car. That tells me at such a young age, you have skills for leadership. Every sentence you put in these 2 minutes. And another thing, between all of us Desis, we love winging it, which means, "Thai just say," or "I'll just do it." No.
Chal se.
Chal se. Write it down. Write your tell me about yourself down. And follow that schedule of 4 items. Repeat it to yourself. Do it to 10 other people. Go get feedback so then when you do go into a job interview, it's picture perfect.
STAR method, the star of the show. Situation, task, action, result.
How many of you know about this, the STAR method?
Excellent. Everyone paid attention. So any work experience or any project that we are asked to explain, this is something this is a framework that, if followed, gives a clear outline of what we have done. So let's say we want to explain the project of my recommender systems. Now, situation is what was the need that led to the recommendation system, right? I cannot jump on saying that I built a machine learning model. I'm out. Why would you do it? Is it for fun? No. So we have to build a story. And the format for the story is this. So situation is that buyers or potential buyers, when looking for items, they are not able to get the items very quickly. And then they lose interest and they leave our website. So there needs to be a program that enables the buyers to find something that they are looking for, and quickly.
I would even add a stat into this as well.
Sure.
That there are 20% of people that go on our website and they leave within 20 seconds because we are unable to recommend them saris that they may want.
Right.
Something like that.
So that's the situation. Now the task at hand is use AI or machine learning models to build a recommender systems to reduce the churn of buyers. Action is...
Can I add something on the task?
Of course.
So the task would be here is that my CEO came to me and said, Krutart bhai, I need you to fix this issue. Because buyers are leaving our website, we are losing more than $20 million of revenue every year. Can you do something about this?
Right. So that's the situation and task. The action is the project that we are going to build. I won't go in that in detail. And the result is not the value or the output of the program. It's the tangible results in terms of revenue, in terms of reducing churn, that has impacted the company, that has impacted the C-suite or the managers above. And that's something we want to be able to explain to the person in front of us.
And to finish that, I would say the action and result here would be that I created a machine. I led a team of 10 people to create a machine learning model within 3 months. We implemented that model on our website, and we were able to capture 80% of the people that were leaving. The CEO came to me 3 months later and gave me an award in front of the entire company saying how good the machine learning model did, and I was able to retain $15 million of revenue. I made all this up, right? But
yeah.
The story, you have to make sure the person grasps the impact that you have done. Building a machine learning model, anyone can do. How much money did you save? Time did you save? Weaving that into the conversation is very, very important. And that's why the STAR method is a simple but
very
foolproof
effective.
method.
Very effective. Okay, the world's most favorite social media, LinkedIn. So in the branding ourselves seminar or session, we covered, there were 2 parts to it. One was building a LinkedIn profile. So this is just a summary. These were the elements of a LinkedIn profile. Headshot. We have a picture. Now, I know that it may seem very obvious, but it was supposed to be said that don't put pictures of us partying or going on a beach or of our pets. There was one guy, I'm not joking, who applied to our company and had a picture of his dog as a LinkedIn profile picture. He was rejected on the spot because it seems as if he was not serious. So the second thing was headline. Now, headline here says Chief Product Officer at VTS. So when a recruiter is searching for potential profiles for their roles, they use a combination of keywords, which says location, job title, and some skills. A combination of these forms their query, and the match that they get are the profiles that they look at. So if someone has a random recruiter reaching out, it means that they are doing something right in their headline. Summary is something that can be used to show our personality as well as something that we cannot put on our resume. So it's not a direct copy of a resume, but more of a complement or extension to the resume. You can put about previous work experience or work experience that may not be directly related to the role but might be useful. That can go in summary. And experience is in resume is restricted by 5 to 6 bullet points. We can use this space to elaborate on different aspects of our experience from within the company. In resume, we are forced to identify 5 or 6 areas, but here you can put 10. And make sure to add as many keywords as possible.
I think one other thing is you are in a massive competition against everyone else that wants a new job, against everyone else that wants more money. And guess who your competition is? Every single person that's out there. What do you do in your LinkedIn profile that makes you look unique? If you have nothing that makes you look unique, don't expect to get a new job. Don't expect to get a raise. Don't expect to get a call from a recruiter. Here, the person writes, I was just reading, I educate, refine, and drive myself to be a better person. I am constantly learning because I never settle. I stay calm when faced with adversity. I focus on making high quality. I have never read that in a LinkedIn profile. But that makes him super unique and stands out from everyone else. He's not talking about his accomplishments. He's talking about himself, how he is as a person, as a human. He's putting that stuff in there. What makes your LinkedIn profile different from everyone else's? What makes it different, Shashwat Bhai, from Kundan Bhai's? You have to find that out and make sure you have that unique aspect.
After creating a good LinkedIn profile, we have to use it to create our network that will help us immediately as well as in long term. So we send a connection request. Now, what do we do after? Let's say someone accepts it. So these are the 4 points. One is uncover common ground for meaningful conversation. Maybe right now the need is for us to get a referral. But right now we are set in our job. But we know that this person is influential. There's a lot to learn from that person. So what are some areas that you want to learn from that person? What are some common interests? It can be software engineering. It can be pickleball. It can be Brawl Stars, for that matter. But find that shared interests. Thoughtful inquiry. Pose questions. You cannot just start with, hey, I think you are good, you're in the same line as me, let's connect. No, there has to be a question. When a question properly posed, it makes the other person think. And when it makes the other person think, there are some areas in the brain, there's a scientific backing to it, which makes that person inclined to interact more. So that thoughtful question is probably the best way to ice break and to engage them. Third, balance and inquiry. Now, if someone's spending their valuable time, we just don't want to drone on asking questions that have no meaning. So it's very important that we identify what we want and stick to that. And not drone on and waste the other person's time in such a way that they lose interest in us. And fourth is continuous engagement. Just like trying to learn something, spaced repetition is the best way to do it. As again, there's an evidence to that. Similarly, out of sight, out of mind. But if we continuously engage them, then there is a chance that whenever, even 2 years from now, a lot of senior director level placements or hiring happens through networking and not through application. So if I know someone at work or previously who I was working with, I just have to reach out to them and tell them that, hey, I'm looking for work. And then they might, because of the continuous engagement, I don't have to do the first 3. That's for the start, but the continuous engagement allows us to just come to the point when needed.
I think just 1 or 2 points on this as well. This is a game of chances. Everything you do on your resume, everything you do on your LinkedIn every person that you reach out to increases your chances by this much, whatever this much is, 0.5%, let's say. So you might reach out to 100 people and one person gets back to you. That's your golden ticket. You might have to reach out to 1,000 people and it's super discouraging, but there's that one person that will read your comment. You may have to improve your resume by 1%. The more percentage, the more things you do, the better your resume and everything gets. It's better for your chance of getting another job. The second item is, I have seen a lot of AI-based answers and questions. Everyone needs to be much smarter. When AI first came out 2 years ago, it was okay to use ChatGPT to formulate your answers and emails. Now people are not stupid. They know whether you wrote something in AI or not, and you won't get the respect you want. What I'm saying from this is be smart. I'm not saying don't use AI. Go ahead, develop your response using AI. Go ahead, get an email written out using AI. But make sure after you get it, you change up as much as you can to make it sound like yourself. If you don't, the respect will be lost forever, whoever you're reaching out to. So please be mindful of that. Even when you're answering questions on LinkedIn, don't just AI it and put it in there because you were told to do it. Put a little more thought into it. Put a little more brain into it and it'll help. And the last piece is the continuous engagement. Today, right now, I still reach out to about 5-6 people on a monthly, bi-monthly basis. Leaders that were my managers and bosses in the past 10, 15 years. I have not stopped that and will not stop that. And it's not because I want a job from them. It could be because I want a job for them in the future. It could be because I want to learn from them, but it's someone I want to keep a connection with. Your old bosses, don't be afraid to go back tonight. Your old professors, don't be afraid to go back tonight on LinkedIn and just open it and say, just saying hi, remembered you from chemistry because this formula came up. That's it. Done for 2 months. Keep your connections up.
July 2024, another art of presentation. So we did a live exercise. We posed a case study, and then we crowdsourced the answers from the audience. Now, before the session was about, before we start the presentation, what are some things that we need to keep in mind? And the first one was know your audience. Today, for example, me and Anand Bhai are here. We are speaking to people who are in their 20s or 30s. So we cannot be talking about stuff that happened in 1960s because it would alienate everyone, right? Even though 1960s, let's say, were the golden era, 1970s were the golden era. But none of us know about it. So we are alienating them. So knowing our audience, it helps us define the presentation purpose. It helps us tailor our content accordingly. So that was the first step that we need to do before even starting the presentation.
We're here speaking to you. Everyone here is searching for a job or is in school or always looking to move forward. So what we say is trying to help your career. Let's say all of you were out and you were all CEOs of the biggest companies. My talk track right now would not be how to make your LinkedIn better, how to network better, because they're all professionals at that. Our talk track might be, you need to start thinking at a level to solve world hunger issues. You need to start thinking at a level that looks at helping the masses of a population, climate change, world hunger, war, whatever it is. That's based on the audience that's in front of me. You're all CEOs, I'd be talking about something way different. You're all job searchers, this is the content that we put up. It's very important whether they're 5-year-old or 50-year-old, whether they're working and know your area better than you, or whether they're whatever it is, every time you speak, just think first, who is the person and what kind of intellect do they have across from me? Then once you know that, start speaking. I think this part also, it's important. Again, chalse, wing it, whatever, doesn't work here. Get a whiteboard. Get 3-4 people down together. There's so much magic in getting 4 people in a conference room with a whiteboard in front of you. There's so much you could brainstorm, so many ideas you reflect on and deflect off each other, and you eventually get to a better and better solution with the more people you have and coming to a conclusion. Here, whenever you have an idea and you want to pitch it, make sure you write those ideas down. And the second thing is, people no longer fall for, trust me, this is correct. I know what I'm doing. Dude, I'm 20 years experience in this field. This is the route to go. No one cares about that. People care that you bring data, facts, research, all that to the table and present it as such. Otherwise, no one's going to respect you in the field or whatever idea you're trying to get across.
Also, it's better to have more data, more ideas, and trim it down to fit the audience and the content length, than not have enough and then fluff it up and exaggerate them. So it's important to collect as much data, as much information as possible, and then use this exercise to trim it down rather than just like, oh, I only have 2 points. Maybe let me add something fluff just to extend it.
The last piece is just telling a story. We don't want to harp on this, but sometimes, feedback from when I hear someone trying to get a point off, it's very monotonous. It sounds the same. It sounds very structured. It sounds like it's been mugged up. Don't be afraid to tell a powerful story. People don't remember the facts and the stuff that you said. They remember how you made them feel at that time. So when you bring in a story, let's say it's a story from home, when you hear CEOs talk, they'll always start with, when I was growing up, my family was very poor, and I blah, 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 and they slowly go to a rags to riches story. And it's very impactful. Other people, they develop a different type of story. But when you want to present your ideas, how do you best make a story out of it? The Vada Pav method helps there, but you always want to speak in terms of story. There are many books on this that's just simply storytelling. That's the best way to persuade someone. That's the best way to get someone to do something that you want them to do.
Steve Jobs, in his commencement speech at Stanford, his whole speech were 3 stories of his life. That was the whole speech. Okay, since most of us are from India, how many of us remember the story of Vikram and Betal? Okay, I think majority. So how many of us have read Vikram and Betal in the past 2 years? None, right? Why do we remember? Because it's something that our mind is attached to. If we introduce characters, if we introduce a storyline, the other person will also remember it. There is more to give through a story than just some facts and statements. So this thing is one of the most powerful elements in any form of communication. Be it speech, be it presentation, be it conversation. If we want to make an impact on someone, this is one of the most powerful way of having that impact. The most recent one, the last one, scam, and not just in 1992. Every year it happens. The 3 takeaways were, don't tell OTP to anyone. Someone calls you, hey, there's a bank issue, give me your OTP, please give it to me. Don't give it. Don't open unknown links.
Does everyone know the OTP thing now? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to ask for each one.
Okay, don't open unknown links. I usually get from UPS, USPC.
Has anyone gotten UPS link? That your package cannot be delivered, please open this link? Okay, good.
Sometimes the CEO of our company also messages us on text message. How many of us have had that experience? Others, why? Yes. They say that, hey, I like your work, I need something, and will you just send it here or open this link and do it?
I'm just giving you a quick bonus for $50. Just click here and you could get it.
Not bonus, it's just, first of all, it's flattering that the CEO knows you. And then the second is, hey, the CEO is messaging me directly. So it gives a sense of self-importance, self-worth, and then we do it. And then, hey, scam.
How many of you have had a message come to you saying, hey, long time no see, how are you doing? Have you ever...
No, also, they come with, hey, Edward, long time no see.
પછી તમે એવું કહો કે no, this is not Edward, this is Anand. Oh, Anand, my bad. Long time no
Maybe
see.
you
Do
can
you
help
remember?
me.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me.
How many of you have gone back and forth and played with them a little bit?
Okay, don't do that.
I do that. I learned, don't do that anymore though. Because they're capturing a lot of information from whatever back and forth you do too.
Yeah. And don't listen to fake calls. So Truecaller or T-Mobile has, I mean, all our carriers have inbuilt system, but there are a lot of fake calls that still make it through. So if someone really needs us, they'll message us that, but not with the name Edward. They'll actually take our name. But if there's an unknown number, and if we feel that this is suspicious, don't pick up. But when it comes to having, in Indian terms, they say vyavhar. But if there is like money transactions that need to be done, so there is a book called Shiksha Patri by Bhagwan Swaminarayan. It's a code of conduct. In that, Bhagwan Swaminarayan said that if there is a money transaction, even with your brother or your father or your son, have someone witness it and put it in writing. So we may think that, okay, this guy is our friend, and it's okay to lend them some money. Don't do that. There is no saying that what will happen after. There are a lot of factors that can lead to that person not giving us our money back and probably just vanishing. The second thing is that there were a lot of scams within our community that were averted, that did not happen, or were about to happen but were prevented because they had someone to consult to. It can be the fake job scams, it can be fake rental scams, advance payment, but they had one person whom they could talk to, take their advice, and decide whether to take an action or not. And 100% of the times when the scams were averted is because they had that one person. So in our Mandad, we have Chirag Bhai, and if there's any money-related transaction, that our Mandad we can talk to our Mandad leaders and take Chirag Bhai's advice for that.
And to get very explicit here, that even within our Mandad, even within our Samaj, fine, $5, $10, fine. Because scams are so prevalent, even if someone is asking for 100, 200, 300, it's my best friend. Yes, agree. No one's going to say no, but still worth going to someone like your Mandad leader or Chirag Bhai just to verify that I'm doing this. Okay, all good to go? You're definitely going to get the okay, but worth verifying this because you don't know where that money is going and you don't know what might befall upon you because you provided the money. Okay, now, on to a new learning. This will be quick, but we're all going into the end of year. And for those of you that are working, or even for those of you that are not working, there is something we need to start employing, and that's a growth mindset. You are going to go into about a 1-hour conversation with your boss. And your boss is going to say, tell me if this is true or not, feel free to tell me. Your boss will tell you a couple things. How you did in the past year, what your raise is, what your bonus is, and what I expect of you next year. This 1 hour is the most important hour that sets your next 365 days forward. So, the first things first, when you go into your review, by the way, this is stuff that Krutat Bhai and I do even in our reviews, and we still ask for our folks to do in anyone that works for us, we ask them to do it for us as well. Write your self-review, which means brag a little. Brag about all the accomplishments that you did throughout the year. Brag about all of them and categorize them. How much of that is impact-based? How much of that was you giving direction to other people? How much of that was your engineering excellence? Brag about a little, and then next to each bullet point, be honest to yourself. Do you think you did well in it? Then give yourself a plus. Do you think you did okay in it? Give yourselves an equal. Do you think you could have done better? Give that bullet point a minus. Go into the conversation open, and before you go into that review, before your manager has the discussions with their managers on what rating you should get, give this self-review to them so they know what you've done well, what you haven't done well, and be honest about it. Again, do not wing this. You have to write it down. You have to categorize it. You have to takes months and months and months of work from the past 12 months to put it together on paper. All right? Remember everything you did in the past couple of months and write it down. The second thing is when you're in this 1 hour, put your manager on their heels. Make them feel uncomfortable. It's okay. Don't yell at them. Don't get aggressive. Simply ask a couple questions. Like, is my work output meeting your expectations? Get that manager to tell you yes or no. How are you measuring my progress compared to everyone else that works with me? He should be ready, she should be ready to answer this right away. They're not allowed to wing it either. Don't think just because it's a manager they can wing it. Put them on their heels with these questions. You're not showing any aggression. You're just asking simple questions. What goals should I be working on next year so I get a higher promotion and a higher rating? Go ask that to your manager. Tell that manager to write it down. Give it to me in written in an email on what I should be working on. That way you have your direction to become successful next year. It'd be awesome in 2025 and you go to your manager and say, here's your email. You said do X, Y, Z. I did X, Y, Z plus ABC. Now what do you have to say? Now what points do you have not to give me a raise? What points do you have not to give me a promotion? I'm pointing like this, but don't point there.
Within the growth mindset, the third thing is embrace discomfort. Now, usually, like Anand Bhai said, bragging. It's something that we are not taught to do. So it's very uncomfortable talking about ourselves. Because we have heard that all the great leaders are humble, they're full of humility, and now we only have to talk about ourselves, market ourselves. So it's a deeply uncomfortable thing. But by embracing that, we have to be comfortable with that. By embracing that, we are doing ourselves a huge service. Now, it's not wrong to put our accomplishments forth. It's wrong to act as if we are the best and put someone else's down. But for the review, it's the necessary evil. Second is ask for projects that are within our comfort zone. There are a lot of people who got promotions and raise because they were doing a job above their title, but they did not have the title. But they asked for that, they did it, and then within 6 months, they had that promotion. So getting uncomfortable is something that we need to be comfortable with. It's not in our nature to talk about ourselves. Let's do it. It's not in our nature to go outside of our work that was given to us. Let's do it. It's not enough anymore to just finish what we have been tasked to do. It's kind of necessary now to go above and beyond. Let's say we are in college, and someone here is looking for a job. I'm going to say out loud, it's a sad truth, but it is the truth, that college projects won't suffice for our resume. It won't be enough to fetch us an interview for the job. There has to be elements in our resume, in our profile, that goes beyond the college academic projects. That's why it's necessary to embrace discomfort, because as a student, we are doing college work, we are doing assignments, exams, extracurriculars, and now we also have to go above and beyond. But that 2 years, 3 years of discomfort is worth the 30 years of comfort coming along.
How many of you know what OKRs are? Raise your hand. Okay. Objective Key Results. This is where in the beginning of the year, you want to write down the OKRs for each half. An OKR is a task that you are going to complete, or a project, or a new feature, or a new enhancement, and exactly with some stats there. So in 6 months, I am going to launch this new feature, and it will have 50% of my company adopted and using it on a daily basis. That is an OKR. There might be a different version of this you might do with your managers, but usually, if you have a good leader and a good manager, they will force you to complete your OKRs for the first month of the new year. They'll say, Jay Bhai, give me all the tasks and projects that you will complete by when, and how do I know that you are successful? Launching a product and December 31st doesn't mean anything. You had no impact. You launched a product, you worked together, you worked really hard on it, doesn't mean anything. But you launched it, you had 50,000 people use that product, and that number of people that use the product led to $10 million of revenue. Now I know, Jay Bhai, that you didn't just launch it. You made sure to market it correctly. You made sure that everyone else knew about it. And you made sure to document everything you did so everyone knows how to use your tool. Now I know you were successful and you should get a plus plus or plus 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 rating at the end of the year. Documenting your OKRs is very important for your career progression. It's a boring task. I hate it. Managers hate it. Trust me. But it's something that allows you to stay on top of your own work and you keep yourself honest throughout your day-to-day work.
So before we go on this one, how many of us have been in an interview and did not get in or did not clear it? Including, okay. So now what would have helped for us to clear it the next time? You can speak up. So usually, let's say I'm in the final round, on-site interview, and I did not clear it. So after 4 or 5 interviews, I wasn't able to do it. Now what do? We email the recruiter, do you have any feedback for me? Because it would help us clear the interview the next time we apply. But usually we are met with some generic automated reply that you are a good candidate, but we found your others with backgrounds more suitable to our needs. Thank you for applying, and done, right? We don't get feedback. So now think about this part as a feedback for the next role, which is the promotion awaiting us. So that this is the 365 days that we have as part of our interview to get promoted to the next role. So feedback is extremely important. Now, usually, if I am very stubborn, that, I did good work, and if someone says that, there are areas where you need to improve, I close my mind. And I'm not utilizing the feedback like I would have. Our managers have a lot of power in deciding whether we move up, whether we get a raise. And regardless of what I feel that I've done a good job, but if our manager doesn't, then it's of no use. I'm just doing that to make myself feel good. But receiving feedback shifts from self-doubt to curiosity, but proactively asking and seeking input on our performance. Now, if the manager feels that, okay, there are some areas where we need to improve, then we can view it as a constructive feedback, use that critical to constructive feedback, and create a roadmap that, okay, these are the areas, what can I do better? So make it actionable, make it a deliverable, like Anand Bhai explained, but use this to grow. This is one of, again, like one of the most important aspect. And if I would have received in all the other areas of my career, I think I would have grown a lot. But as of now, it's available in end of year review, so this is our chance to shine.
You know, you will go to your end of year review and ask them for feedback. You know what most managers will say? No, you did very good this year. That's it. You did good. Keep it up. Don't walk out with that answer. Ask your manager again. No. If there's one or two things that you could tell me which makes me even better in the workplace, it could be my collaboration, it could be my something technical related, it could be my code, it could be whether I have a bias for action, it could be that I don't act with a sense of urgency, it could be anything. But I need one or two things because personally, you're my manager, and I want to make sure I am performing at the best of my capability. So again, this is another chance for you to put your manager on their heels. This 1 hour is super important. Make sure you get explicit feedback on things. And you know what? Ask your manager in advance, before, 1 week before your review. Just tell them, listen, I'm going to be asking this question, and I want you to become prepared. That what can I do better? What can I do better? What feedback do you have for me for the end of the year? So that is basically it for the end of year performance. So anyway, we do this as part of Atmiya Care Charities, and each of you have shown great suruchi and great garaj, because this is actually a program that is 1 hour before the real program. So I want to give you a big round of applause for attending throughout the year. Now, we're going to have Meetbhai come up, and he's going to do a short survey. And the purpose of this survey is for you to give us a performance review on how we've done. But also, it'll be asking for feedback on what we can do better for you next year. Any issues, any problems, keep your mind open. Feel free to write anything down in your head. All that stuff will help us cater a better schedule, a better presentation for next year as well. So we'll give it to Meetbhai.
They are the managers today, and this is our chance to use this feedback constructively. Thank you.
First of all, as Anand Bhai mentioned, let's hear it for them for putting up this session. So thank you. I mean, today's day is just stacked up with this keyword called as year-end. We had year-end review of all of our ACC sessions. So for those of you who wants to review these sessions, all of the sessions that Anand Bhai and Krutarth Bhai recapped are available on the YouTube channel of Atmiya Care Charities. Just feel free to go in there and revise them, because some of them might not be of immediate use to you, but when you need it, those are available for you. And talking about this review, so what we basically want to find out, this session is called Career Compass. So okay, just a small quiz. What does compass do? Give direction. There is something more precise that compass do. Compass doesn't give direction. It just tells you where the north is. So just imagine you are here in Parsippany and you want to go to New York. It's pretty simple. Just travel east. So once you find out what the north direction is, you can just travel east and reach New York probably. But if someone just drops you at a random place on this earth, say coordinate X, and you have a compass with you which is still pointing north, but what direction would you go to reach New York? We don't have an answer. So this is the purpose of this presentation. As said, year-end review. We want to find out what elements have been helpful to you versus the elements that have not been that helpful to you, which needs rethink, or something else that could be added to these sessions that can be helpful for your career journey. Yeah, I think we are already on the seventh question. We'll just go back to the first question. So while we do that, how many of us are able to join this? And can you just show of hands, like whoever has signed in? Okay. Now I know generally some networks struggle to connect to the internet here, but we basically want input from all of you. So it would be really helpful if you guys, for those of you who have joined in, can just raise your hand. And for those of you who are not able to connect to internet, probably you can reach out to your neighbors, ask them for hotspot. Just don't download YouTube videos from that for the time being. Just give this survey, and I can see 59, but I can probably make out like there would be about 100 people in here. So there are more 30 to 40, those are missing. Yeah, maybe a few more. You can ask your neighbors for the hotspot. Okay, once we reach 80, we'll start. Okay, now we can start the survey. We would have some good data. So yeah, it's about locating a worship. We can go to the next question. Obviously, pretty simple one. This is just to understand demographics, like, what the audience is. So as Anandbhai and Krutarthbhai mentioned in the art of presentation, know your audience, and as per your audience, you can put up the content. So that's the purpose of this. It's good to see, like most of us are employed. So it seems with the elections over, the signs of recessions are going off. Just kidding. I don't know, to be honest. Okay, we can go to the next one. What is your current visa status? I would expect, yeah, F1 and H1 to be on the top, to be honest. Wow. What a wonderful distribution of audience we have here. And we all are together in this journey. It's such a nice thing to learn that we have a pretty evenly spread audience in here. Okay, we can go to the next one. This one's pretty important. It helps us to understand what is the content or industry-specific content that would be most useful for the people out here. And you have an option to select one or more. So, because I have met people who are applying in 4 or 5 domains. I don't know how, but they do. So if you're doing that, feel free to mention 4 or 5 domains in here as well. It's good to see software engineers and data engineers on the top. Okay, thank you everyone for your participation. We can move to the next one. So this one's, as Anandbhai mentioned, constructive feedback. So put some good thought process. Again, the intent is to help you out. So just think of the questions from the perspective of helping you out. What could these sessions be to be more impactful? Okay, so we can go to the question. What aspects of ACC sessions do you find most valuable? Oh, you can show the results as well if you want. Everything, wow, that seems pretty optimistic. Slides, resume, interactive sessions. Yeah, I do remember during this art of communication, Anandbhai and Krutarthbhai used to walk down to the audience and make them say their elevator pitch or make them say LE bar technique and stuff. Those videos are actually pretty nice to watch if you want to go back to YouTube and recap them. Okay, nice participation, everyone. We can go to the next one. Now, this one's something that I have been most looking forward to. Every time after these sessions, when we go down to have dinner or something, there are at least 2 to 3 people who walk up to me and tell me that, if this would have been in the session, it would have been a great session. So this is open platform for you guys. Give us all the great ideas that you have that could be part of these sessions, and we'll try our best to make it a part of these sessions. Real life stories and prasang from real people. AI mock interviews. I do remember we doing AI mock interviews previously, and it's also on YouTube if you want to see. It's probably December 2023. Assigning mentor, chance to ask questions back to presenter. That is definitely coming up. 5 to 10 minutes of QA sessions on every session. What is the scope of upcoming technologies? One live interview, wow, that's a pretty good suggestion as well. All of these are amazing ideas, and thank you very much for providing all of these ideas. We can move on to the next one. Some suggestions that we need for you for what future sessions should be or what you are looking for in the future sessions. So if you can go to the question. Yeah, just these are all the pool of topics that again we could think of from career perspective that could be useful to anyone. And again, you have a choice to select one or more. So just select all of the topics that you would like to learn, you would love to learn about, or you think are going to be super helpful for you to take next step in your career journey. And we'll do our best and find the best industry speakers that can cater to those topics. I still have like 40 responses on this, and I can see that there are 98 people signed in. So again, there's just last 1 or 2 questions left. I would really appreciate if you guys could, provide some inputs in here, and that would be really helpful for us. Or I think people are just, as Anandai mentioned, while providing constructive feedbacks, they're taking their time to think like, what would be the most useful thing? Awesome. We have over 90 people answered this thing. And now there is one last question. This is open-ended question. So you could think of this question in a way where it's an open-ended version of the previous question. So in previous one, we had provided you with a bunch of topics that we could take up. Now the purpose behind asking this is, if you tell us what's hindering you, probably that's also a session in itself, or could be a session in itself. Again, yeah, I know that green card might be a hindrance to you, but I personally don't know Donald Trump, so there is nothing I could do there. But something that we could do to help you out, it would be really helpful if you provide those things as an answers to this question. Lack of challenges, confidence, company politics. I've hit my comfort zone. And for those of you who are hitting your comfort zone, that's what precisely growth mindset is about, and we'll be having part 2s coming up. Great. So, Harifati, lack of time management, sponsorship, inconsistency of efforts, communication, yeah. And all good. So we definitely want every one of us to be all good one day, and that's the whole purpose behind this session. Again, thank you for devoting 5 to 10 minutes for this poll and survey. And again, you all appreciate the speakers, but I also owe a humble thank you to all of you to be a participant in this ACC sessions throughout the year, and just hear it for yourself once. And now we'll be entering into 5 minutes break. And after 5 minutes break, we have our Samanva Youth Meet. Does anybody know what's the topic? Oh, here is the topic. Lesson with a point. Now, as I already see, today's day is stacked up with the keyword year-end, and probably this is going to be the last Samanva Youth Meet of this year. So it's going to be pretty exciting. It's always exciting. So it makes me even more excited about what's going to be this time around. Last time it was about some mathematical formula, so I was trying to predict like a point in geometric space, there could be infinite points. I don't know, 2 points make a segment, but I don't know what's the lesson there. But yeah, for those of you guys who are just curious like me, there will be 5 minutes break, and after that we'll be having our Samanva Youth Meet on the topic, a lesson with a point. Thank you.